Donald Trump is on a phenomenal losing streak in court right now, case after case from coast to coast. And I have a feeling it's only going to get worse.
We were actually talking earlier about Elon Musk apparently bribing people in Wisconsin. He's going to give 2 people $1 million to prove that they voted in this upcoming election already this weekend. Is that something he can get around? It's illegal, right, to bribe people to vote?
It's illegal to bribe people, and I think he has sort of, played this game before. I want to say it was in Pennsylvania, and I believe if I recall accurately, there was a determination that, well, it's maybe bribery-ish, but it may not be legally actionable, and I know no charges were brought against him. So, look, if he got a pass last time, I'm sure he's just going to replicate the same dirty play. And, he's throwing all of the money he can at elections that he is hoping to sway. And, we just got some good results in Pennsylvania that show no matter what he tries to do, it looks like the Dems are on the rise. So we'll see.
I'm crossing my eyes, fingers, and toes. So the Supreme Court declined, by the way, on Monday to take a case challenging the New York Times v. Sullivan, which is an interesting case for them to decline, because I thought that Thomas and Alito really, really wanted that. And Gorsuch, too, I think, wanted that case, which is, my mom sued the National Enquirer and won. And it's because she was a public figure that it was a big deal for her to actually win that lawsuit, because you have to prove a lot more.
The bar is a lot higher.
It's a lot higher for a famous.
Actual malice.
Yes.
Actual malice.
Whereas somebody that's not famous or in the public eye, it's easier to prove libel or slander because they don't have the higher standard. So I'm glad that they didn't take, because it was Steve Wynn that was trying to sue. So it's interesting that they're not taking it. Do you think they'll find another case that they will like better to take on? Because I know Donald wants it overturned too.
Yeah, it's anybody's guess. But here's the thing. The last ruling from the Supreme Court on a case that the Trump administration really wanted them to take. Remember how he was stiffing the USAID contractors to the tune of $2 billion, which felt a lot like the way he used to do business in New York. And he desperately did not want the federal government to pay that $2 billion after he, tried to shut down USAID. And the Supreme Court ruled against him. That is the last case of consequence that we've had a Supreme Court ruling in. So let's hope that, the Constitution is trending and the Supreme Court will wake up and recognize the, Frankenstein monster of a president they have created, and will begin to actually apply the rule of law and the Constitution to these cases. Because, Jody, Donald Trump is on a phenomenal losing streak in court right now, case after case from coast to coast. And I have a feeling it's only going to get worse. So as long as the courts hold, and as long as the executive branch complies with court orders, we'll stay tuned on that front. I think the judiciary is doing the important work of trying to save our democracy.
Well, and then Judge Bosberg just got another Donald case, and Donald was, shall we say, displeased with that, thinking that somehow he got, but it's a crapshoot, isn't it, to get in D.C. It's not like it's Florida or, Texas or other places where we can judge shop. It's a crapshoot in D.C. And so he's been lucky enough to get these cases. I'm not quite sure how Judge Bosberg feels about this, but I know Donald is very upset about these cases, and he's threatening him again. He said he literally truthed out, Bosberg seems to be grabbing the Trump case all to himself, even though it's not supposed to happen that way. Is there such a thing as the wheel? So can you explain exactly how Judge Bosberg is getting these cases so that people understand he's not grabbing them himself?
Yes, there is what we call the wheel. That is the court. Those are the courts in D.C. in which I practiced for decades. Not to mention that I used to supervise James Bosberg when he was a federal homicide prosecutor, and he was my trial partner in murder cases. So I know him well. I've known him for decades. He is as sort of straight up honorable and loyal to the rule of law and Constitution kind of guy you're ever going to meet. What is the wheel? The wheel is a random way to assign cases that are filed in federal district court in Washington, D.C. Think of a wheel with all of the judges' names on it, and it clicks one each time a judge gets an assignment, and then the next judge is up, and the next judge is up, and the next judge is up. And Judge Bosberg, at the beginning of what was a 20-minute hearing yesterday in court, which was reportedly pretty cordial, we could talk about why that is, basically because the Trump administration got caught with its hand in the national security cookie jar. So they're like, Judge, wait a minute. We're already collecting up these signal chats, and we are going to preserve them the way the Federal Records Act and the Administrative Procedures Act requires us to do. So it was a pretty quick, cordial hearing yesterday. But, Judge Bosberg also said something during the hearing that was reported out that I got a real kick out of. He's handling the Venezuelan unconstitutional deportation case as well. And one of the things the Trump administration, his dirty DOJ lawyers said was, well, you only issued an order that we should turn the planes around orally. So what did Judge Bosberg say in court yesterday? He said, I'll be issuing an order in the signal chat case directing you to find and preserve these records. And don't worry, it's going to be in writing, he said with a smile on his face, reportedly. So, but here's the thing, Jody, this nonsense about, well, if it's not in writing, it's not a court order. Do you know judges every day sit as finders of fact at a bench trial? You know what they say? I find the defendant guilty.
Right.
That's oral.
Right.
That's a binding order. I sentence you to 10 years in prison. That's oral. That's a binding order. Come on. This law firm at DOJ of Bondi, Blanche, and Bove is as crooked and cruddy a law firm that I could ever envision heading up the Department of Justice.
Well, yeah, I said that when they said, it's oral, but if you object and a judge sustains or upholds the objection, that's an oral order.
Right.
It's like it happens every minute in a trial that a judge does something orally that is a standing order. And it's typed into the records for sure, but it's an order.
Well, did you know that scammers can literally steal your home right out from under you? Not like a cartoon. The FBI calls it house stealing. It is a growing real estate scam targeting American homeowners. Here's how it works. Criminals forge your signature on one document, use a fake notary stamp with your local recorder's office, and just like that, your home title has been transferred out of your name. Then they can take out loans using your equity as collateral or even sell the property behind your back. You won't even know it's happening until you start getting collection or foreclosure notices. So let me ask you, when was the last time you checked your home title? If you're like me, the answer is never. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. Their $1 million triple lock protection helps keep your home and equity safe. Here's what you get. Immediate 24/7 monitoring of your property, urgent alert if there's any changes, and if fraud should happen, their U.S.-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost. Here's the best part. I have teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so you can find out if you are already a victim and access your personal title expert. That is a $250 value just for signing up. Go to HometitleLock.com, use my promo code Stephanie250 or click on the link in the description. That's HometitleLock.com. Promo code is Stephanie250 to get the protection and peace of mind you deserve.